unmute yourself and interrupt us. Don't feel like you have to be polite at all as far as worrying to wait till the end or something. If you have a question, just ask it. So I hit record, so we are recording now. I'm Tanya Davidson. If you haven't taken a class with me before or been in a workshop with me before, a free class, I thought it would be kind of cool to start a new series called the Artful Bench, where I just interview different manufacturers, distributors, artists, stone cutters, variety of people who are adjacent to us or who can affect what we use at the bench. So say like a new tool is out, why not, instead of just showing you the tool and talking about the tool, I actually bring them on and they can help answer questions about that tool, because it makes a lot more sense. I'm not like telling you what Jeff's saying. We're actually going to find out from the horse's mouth what he thinks about his magnification, and can answer those questions that you might have. Because I know some people get them, I have them on, and they have an issue. So I had several things that I had to learn, and so I'm going to share my tips with you as well about my learning curve with them. I'm going to share with you also the things that kept me from buying them earlier, and why I wish for everyone to not do that. And so we'll handle all the questions as we go through it. I also am going to be talking about ergonomics. So I'm going to show some slides about ergonomics, and I'm going to show some tools that are helpful to helping with ergonomics. We're not going to go too deep in the woods because I really want to focus on the CraftOptics and these wonderful glasses and why they can help you at the bench, and why you should not wait to get a pair. So we'll talk about that as well. And then Jeff can answer questions, I can answer questions. So I thought I would just take this as sort of like a mini class and show you a bunch of slides and talk about magnification and ergonomics. But before I do that, I want to welcome Jeff to our call. This is Jeff Caplan. And I just want to read a little bit of a bio about him, because it speaks very well to who he is and why he's here today. So he's the owner and president of CraftOptics. That he's been in the industry for over 40 years, which says a lot. So trustworthy.
And I'm only 36.
Yeah, you look really good. And so he's been in the field of magnification and optics for that period of time, because his father, before him, launched a company, and I'm probably going to mess this up, or a Scoptic. The
first Scoptic.
Okay, the Scoptic, the first company to bring magnifying eyeglasses and lighting to general dentistry. So when you go in to get your teeth cleaned and the dentist is looking at you, now you kind of have an understanding of where these glasses came from and where the technology is from, and why Jeff had an interest in doing this for the last 40 years. He held a senior leadership role at this company, or Scoptic, including executive vice president and managing director for Europe, which I am very jealous about, where he established the company's first European office in Paris. Can you imagine having such a great gig? Yeah, that's a good gig. Building its international sales and distribution network. People see these glasses everywhere. You see them at your dentist office, because I first saw them at my dentist office and asked him about that. That sent me down a rabbit trail looking at those and calling those people, and they're like, well, we have to come see you and talk to you and measure everything in person, because it's going to, and then I thought, well, that's going to be a heavy sales call, and I'll probably say yes, even if I don't want them. So then I didn't buy them, because I didn't want to have that pressure. And, it's easy when you work in a dental office, because the guy comes in, he talks to everybody, and the pressure isn't on one person, it's on the whole office. So with one person, that's very different. So I never made that phone call. And I met Jeff at a show, because I used to do shows also, and then I go to shows. I met him, and I hemmed and hawed about it, and honestly, I didn't buy them. And I'll tell you some of the reasons why later, and we get into it, why I didn't buy it. And I've just been kicking myself, because they have changed the way I work at the bench. And honestly, they've changed everything about how I look at these glasses. And I'm going to show you my little treasure box of glasses. Since then, Jeff has exhibited at hundreds of shows. He's always at a trade show. So if you watch his Instagram, you'll see him at all these various places. And he's really talked to so many artists, whether they're quilters, needlepoint, painters, artists of every kind, that have shared their problems and issues at the bench, and he has tried to solve them. So I feel like that's better than talking to a dentist rep or somebody who can't relate to what we're doing, and who understands what we do at the bench, because he has talked to so many people and been at these shows. Really, that's how you learn, because I did shows for over a decade, and we were on the road half of the year going to shows, and I thought it was not a moneymaker. I tell you, doing shows is not a moneymaker. It's there. You're there for marketing because you need to make the connection with and you artists know this. You need to make the connection with your buyers, and then they'll buy later. Even if they don't buy right then, but it's an opportunity for you to get your name out there, for people to see you, to understand what it is that you offer. And I saw his ads all those years because how can you miss the graphic? The logo is so bold. But I really never thought I needed these. Like, I didn't need to spend that kind of money on a pair of glasses. So I want to share kind of my journey with that. So here is a picture of Jeff and his beautiful wife, Stacy, and you'll find them at shows. Don't be afraid to sit down and try on the glasses. They'll be at the Tucson Gym Show at GL&W, which is the Holodome. They've been there for years. They're a table in the big tent over to the far wall. So if you're going down that aisle, look to your, let's see, you're going to look to the west. They're always on the west side of that
We're on
aisle.
a corner. Yeah. We're in a new spot this year, but it's just a little bit in, but it's on a corner, so you'll see us.
I hate it when vendors change because I know exactly where to go. Now I won't know. I'll be like searching, but that's good. I guess that's good. You'll pick up new people that way. Yeah, that'll be good. They're lovely. Do not be afraid to talk to them or ask questions. He wants you to be happy. He's not going to do a hard sale on you. He just wants to share these things that he is so passionate about. This is me. I demo at the Snag Show in Tucson, which is held it's at the Catholic Cathedral Annex teaching area. And it's a lovely show. It's all about tools. Like, all of the booths are about tools, and this year's going to be really big, and there's a lot of people that come and demo. So I was demoing, and I was having a really hard time seeing because the lights in that room are so low, and I only had my little light, and it was not enough, and I was placing these granules, and I was so grateful for the dream light that comes with these because I could see everything so clearly in a dark ballroom. Yes, and I have mine right here because I want to show you how to attach it. So it is something that normally you'd think, oh, I don't need the light. I've got plenty of light because we always have lots of bench light. But it has two modes on it that you can go medium or bright. It's an LED light. It's battery packed, which is so great because you can walk all over your studio with it. You're not tied to your bench. And it also has no shadows. So when it casts a light, you see everything in that area. It's really hard to demonstrate it when you're wearing them on camera. It's almost impossible. And when I teach, I don't wear it because when I look up at the camera, it blinds everybody that's looking at me. And then when I look down and I look around the room, they're just seeing like this magnification going around. So I don't wear it. But when I'm working at my bench, I always wear it. So I highly, it's changed the way I work. So let's talk about ergonomics a little bit before we get started. And Jeff, just jump in any of the slides.
Sure.
Otherwise I won't, you'll know, I just won't shut up. I'll just keep talking. So just jump in if you want to add something. But This image is one of the older images. It's actually in a new book about stone setting, but it's a really good image that shows how we would stone set if we could actually see like a 15-year-old to 19-year-old and our eyes haven't started to degrade yet. We would sit very close. We would have the bench pin right in our face because we wouldn't have glasses or need glasses. But as we all age, we need magnification to be able to see. I had 18/20 vision until I hit 40. And then I needed readers, and then it just...
Like most people.
It started to go downhill. So that also for me was difficult because when I decided to get, I don't need prescription glasses. I can just wear my readers and then another pair of magnifiers over the top and I'll be fine, or my Optivisor. And I did that for many, many years. I was wearing, I have a whole box I'm going to show you of all these different magnifiers that I have worn over the years, including Optivisor. And when I put these on, I was like, whoa, I can actually see detail, like you can see it over there, my microscope over there. So once you go microscope, it's really hard to go back because then you start to see how you really can't see. And when you put your work under a microscope, you realize how bad your work really is, that you thought it looked good because you really couldn't see well. So being able to see well is an absolute must. Plus now with macro photography, I tell my students about this, when you get done with a piece and you finish it and you send it off to the photographer and they take pictures, and all of a sudden you've got all these things in there that you never noticed before. Now they have to be touched up because we can't see them properly because we don't have the right magnification. Now, are our customers going to have this kind of magnification on when they look at our work? No. So it only needs to really be good enough for the naked eye for them to purchase it. But when we photograph it and put it up on the interwebs, we have to have really good, clear understanding of what our work looks like. So these do help with that, because the telescopes on here really pull down and magnify everything you're going to see. So
it's funny. I'm sorry, I was going to say, the naked eye is important, right? But we sell, one of the markets that we sell into is people who do miniatures, which is that's a whole world. Every craft has its world. And in miniatures, they have to be perfect, because people who collect buy these, and they're looking at the miniatures they either buy or make. So so everyone is critiquing every little tiny detail. It's really an interesting.
That's tough. That's a tough
Isn't that
crowd.
funny?
Yeah,
It's a tough crowd. It's funny, yeah.
So I thought I would pick apart some ergonomic tips for you guys and give you some visuals for them, because as a teacher, I'm really big on giving visuals, because if I just tell you something, you may assume something different than what I'm actually trying to say. So it's really good if I can show you. So with this image showing a stone setter at his bench when he doesn't need magnification, but the thing I wanted you to see was how straight his, fairly straight his spine is to his hips, to his knees, to his feet, and his head, so that you don't have issues with your neck hurting, your back hurting, needing to go to a massage therapist. Now, one of the things that I always tell my students is that, remember, that if you have to pay for a massage therapist and a chiropractor and all that, you should have just bought yourself a pair of glasses and a proper chair and a proper bench that would alleviate you wasting your time going back and forth to these appointments. I don't go to massage therapists. I've never been to a chiropractor. I'm not on any pills. So I think that is a credit to my ergonomics, but I also have a degree in design, so I understood what ergonomics were, and I understood the whole idea of sitting properly in a chair and having my workbench be at the proper height with my bench pen. So what I'm showing you here is that proper ergonomics show that your hip to your knee, like your hip joint to your knee, should be at about an 80 to 85% angle. But the problem is, if we have a little bit more cushioning underneath our rear end, that raises up our hip bone joint that level. So then what I tell most people is just make sure that you're sitting at a 90-degree angle, because that extra padding underneath is going to raise up your rear end a little bit. So you do have that 80 to 85% or degree, sorry, not percent, but degree angle to your knee, and your feet should be flat on the floor. So when I see women who cross their legs at the bench, I want to go up and uncross their legs, sit up straight, make sure your back is straight, and then we deal with the head. So you guys have all heard about tech head, tech brain, tech neck, whatever that is, about when we start to lean forward, how we're starting to get lots of issues. Well, the same thing happens at the bench, and nobody's watching you. You don't have a camera on yourself. You're not really paying attention to how you're sitting or how you look, but being aware of these things will help you think about it when you move forward with your bench. And I found that my bench was always a little too short, so I had to put 2x4s under the legs to raise it up. Then as I worked on different things, I found that the bench pin was either too high or too low, so I wanted something that could elevate the bench pin as well and move with me for whatever task I was doing. Because otherwise I started to get really close. Even with the magnifiers, I was bending over. I think that's one of the biggest learning curves with these glasses, is you no longer have to lean over or bend over. And if you do, things will not be in clarity. You will actually have blurriness happening because you're falling into bad habits where you felt like you needed to get close. And so you did, and these are actually set to work at a certain length. So the ones, he has 3 kinds, and they work at 13-inch, 16-inch, and then he has ones that are longer for quilters. They're called long arm quilters, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about quilting.
Or for tall people who or for people who have neck problems who aren't able to lean over at all. They really have to be upright.
Stand up, yeah.
But where this really ties in, you can sit up as straight as you can be in perfect perfect alignment whatever angles you need to be at. The problem is it's hard to see. And so we all go through that. And one of the, it's so common. All the stuff that you're going through that you mentioned, I hear it every day, the same thing. People will say, well, I was fine with these glasses, or I don't want to get these glasses, or I have to wear readers and I'm wearing another reader. And I went to my doctor and I said I wanted my readers stronger. But when my readers are stronger, I have to sit really close. And that's optics. So that's the problem is
Yeah.
that, and I hear this all the time where people will say, well, I just want really strong. I went to my optometrist and I'm so mad because I wanted, you know, +3 readers, but then I had to sit like this to see,
Yes.
and then I was really close and I had a back problem.
Yeah.
The stronger a single lens magnifier is, the stronger a reader is, the shorter the focal distance. That's just how it is. You can't get around that. So the only way to create distance is with the telescopes. So
Yep.
that's why you see dentists and surgeons wearing these, because they don't want their face right in a surgical site.
Right.
They need to be able to see and sit back. And so when people have back and neck trouble, and it's super common among, any metalsmith, any jewelry artist, it's, it's almost universal. When they have that problem, people don't always think of it as tying to their eyes, as being connected to their vision. They think about other stuff and oh, I got to raise my bench, I got to do this. And then even then they'll still start leaning over in it because it's habit.
Yeah.
And so they'll still have that problem. When we first started, we sat around with, we went into studios, we went to goldsmiths, we went to people into their studios and watched them work. You should see some of the photographs from the early days. And we're going into our 17th year of doing this. We've been doing this a long time. But some of the photos are unbelievable because people will say, well, when I work, I'm sitting like this. And then we take a picture of them and they are just like shrimp. They're curled over and just, and it's so shocking to them to see that. They don't realize how much they're drifting in when they work.
Yep.
And so like you said, that is one of the biggest learning curves of when you get something like this, is that it is your body's trying to lean in. And as soon as you get into the habit of sitting back, your back and neck are so much more comfortable. And so you just, you start to relax more, and it just, and then you can work longer without even, without any strain or having to stop. So the ergonomics and vision work together. People don't realize that until you point it out, and then they go, oh yeah, now I get it.
I have to remind myself to sit back because I
Yeah.
want to drift forward, and then I'm like, why can I not see? Why is it now blurry? Oh yes, I need to sit back. You're back into your old habits. And
Yeah.
it's funny because my art of piercing and sawing class, I did a whole ergonomic section, and I had to go through the interwebs to look for pictures of people working at the bench. I couldn't find but like 2 pictures of people at the proper
Right.
ergonomic stance. All of them were bad, and so I used those and then picked them apart to say this is what you're seeing when you see people. And
Yeah.
I saw a young woman on Instagram who had really bad posture, and she was also making things harder for herself. A really tall stool, bent over at her bench.
Oh yeah.
And I made a comment on my own page about something, and I think she knew it was about her because she reached out. She's like, "Were you talking about me?" And I'm like, "How would she know? I have like
Yeah.
5,000 people I follow."
Yeah.
But I think we can all see it in ourselves. We just don't know how to fix it. So we're showing you a tool that can help fix it, and I'll show you another tool also. But so here, this is just a little bit of information about, when you use the right magnification, you need to raise up your bench things a little bit more, so that you're not like, having to lean in. You can back up a little bit. And so it goes over these slides, just show you a little bit about the ergonomics and what you're going to need. And then I have this diagram that's kind of interesting. So again, it shows feet on the floor, your angle of your seat at that 85 or about 80 to 85 degree tilt from your hip to your knee, sitting up straight, and then that head angle being at about 45 to 55 degrees. So if you're back too far, it makes it hard to see, which then you might want to go to a longer 16-inch or one of the other magnifications that he has for the telescope range. Or if it's not comfortable for you to have your head at that, But I'm going to show you in a second how that works out to weight for that tech neck. So the weight of your head on your neck and your back, and the reason why that hurts. So one of the other things that you can do is use a GRS slide and lock to raise up your bench pin and lower your bench pin. I actually have one on my fabrication bench, and I have one also on my soldering bench, because I want to be able, when I want something to be eye level, I can raise up my bench pin. And if I want it to be more of a bird's eye, so I can see down on it, I can lower it. But then at no time am I having to lean over. I'm just adjusting the work to where it is and keeping my head still at that same degree of angle. And I will make these into slides so that you guys can have them. So this is what a slide and lock looks like if you're not familiar with it. It was made by Rio Grande in the beginning, and then they sold the design to GRS. So now it's sold by GRS, back to Rio and to other places. Again, you get a discount if you order from AutoFry. I can give you all the discount codes if you want them. Just reach out to me after the call. But this one is their newer one. It's not really new, but I have the classics, which are really long and tall. You only need that if you need your bench pin to move more than 5 inches either way, up or down. And hardly any of us need that. If I was really, really tall, maybe I would need that. I would need the classic, but for everyone else, this one, the mini, works the best. It will move up to 5 inches up or down, allowing you to have a bench pin that's lower or higher without having to move your chair. The whole reason for this is if once you move your chair, you're no longer sitting with your hips and your knees and your feet at the right angle. So now you're going to be putting stress on your back. So keeping your chair, the first thing I always do is make sure my chair is at the right height. And once my chair is set, I never change it. And believe it or not, I have a cheap $99 Staples chair that works just right. You don't need one of those really expensive ones. You don't need a super fancy one. You don't need a jewelry chair. You just need a chair that's very comfortable at the right height, because even if you have those very expensive chairs, if you have them at the wrong height, you're going to have problems. So it just comes back to good ergonomics. So start with the chair first, and then get your bench pin at what would be a good height. Now, when we use bench pins now, we want the bench pin to be between our sternum and our nipples. Now, when I say nipples, I say the nipples you were born with, not the ones that you have now. So when we have to look the other way. So thinking about not at the bottom of your sternum, but sort of in the middle. So I always tell my students to kind of have your bench pin about nipple height, where your nipples are now, not where they were when you were younger. So men can't relate to this, but so that's kind of where we want our bench pin to be. So if your bench pin is not there, that's where the slide and lock comes into play, that we can then elevate it or lower it on the fly. It takes 1 second to move it. And so we can move it up and down as we need to when we're working. So here's a picture of it at my old fabrication bench in Tucson. Just me doing some manipulating with my tools and having that. This is on the classic, and that's why I said I don't like it, because it's way too tall and it gets in the way, because it is a really long slide and lock. The new mini ones are much shorter, so you don't have that big piece of metal sticking up at the top. This is what it would look like at my soldering bench, which has a lot more going on in this picture. So you can kind of see how that slide and lock, which is right here. Ooh, my pencil's not working. There we go. That moves up and down. So I can move my GRS platform up and down and be able to work right there, right in front of my face, close up, so I can see everything I'm doing and if the soldering is flowing or if I'm getting a good fuse and so on. This is a little bit more about biomechanics, talking about, generally where your elbows used to be. Now they're going to be at a different area because we are using magnification. So don't always go by the old books or by old diagrams, because things change when we start to use magnification. We are going to be sitting at a little bit different height, having that safe range for our neck leaning forward. And then this is a little bit of information about the cervical spine load that you have when your head is too far forward. So that's what we're really trying to get away from with CraftOptics, is making sure that we're not leaning forward and putting all that weight onto our neck and straining our back, that we're sitting more upright. We have a nice casual, easy, relaxed forward motion with our head, and then the glasses are doing all the work for us. So we're not straining our eyes, we're not straining our body, and we're keeping everything so that we don't have to go to the doctor and the massage therapist anymore.
Well,
So,
in dentistry, I don't know if, I mean, we're all, I'm assuming that most of us are old enough to remember when our dentist used to sit on a stool and they had a belly bar.
yeah.
And they did not have a lumbar support. And so they would lean on this belly bar and then lean over the patient. And it was just this ridiculous body positioning. And that's why my father, the very first product that he designed was a chair that the dentist would sit in, that had adjustable armrests and that had a lumbar support. These are things that, in the early 80s, people weren't really talking much about. And so he got this chair, brought it into his office and sat there, and he thought, oh, this is great. I can sit up and see. And then he starts working and he realized, oh, I'm too far. Like, I can't see sharp enough from this distance now. I need something to bridge that gap. Now that I'm sitting up straight, I want to be able to, see. And then that's where the magnification came in. He designed it for himself. And then he thought, well, this little hole that I'm looking at is pretty dark. And he's trying to adjust this light above him to get to shine in there, but he was always blocking it with his instruments. And that's where the light came in, because it's going to come right from, between your eyes. So everything you see is brightly lit without shadows. And so that's that. So it allowed him to sit upright, arms anchored, elbows anchored, and you'd be surprised at how much having an armrest. And I don't know how practical that is in a metalsmith's, at the bench, but that takes a ton of pressure off your shoulders.
Yep.
And we used to demonstrate that to dentists. We would give them the armrest and then we'd pull them away, and they would feel that weight as soon as their arms would drop and we'd pull the armrest away at a demonstration. They'd realize how much weight they were holding. So all that stuff combined, and that's what happened. And it saved his career, because he was having terrible back and neck pain, and it was just in pain every day coming home, and thought, I got to do something or I have to stop working. So that's where that came from. And so all the work we did in dentistry, which is so interesting now, because everyone recognizes that. They go to their dentist, they see these kinds of glasses. And we used to get asked this question all the time in the dental company. Hey, I'm a metalsmith. I want those glasses like my dentist has. And they would call our company, and we just didn't have a product that made sense, for a broader market. And so that's why we just started to work with CraftOptics, work with artists, and that's all we do. We don't do anything in medical or dental.
Yeah, there's
anymore.
no need to. You have a big enough market. People just need to realize that they need them. I mean, I think, so for me, I have claustrophobia. So anything on my nose freaks me out. Like, I don't want to feel any weight on my nose at all, or feel any heaviness. So I was very concerned that these were going to be too heavy, because I don't like an optivisor either. Anything that's like on my head gives me a headache. So I always wanted some kind of glasses. So I tried, every kind of thing you can imagine. This is my box of all of my different Mega Views, Shishi Raws, all the different things that I've tried, the cheap ones to the expensive ones. And I think now, if I had just bought a pair, I have spent more replacing the other ones. And inevitably what happens is they'll come out with the Shishi Raws, and you love them, you fall in love with them, you get used to them, and you wear them. And then when you scratch the lenses, you go to replace them, and now they no longer have the lenses because they have the new Mega View. So then you buy the whole new setup, it's $100, and then you think, okay, I'm going to buy the lens to go with it. But then you can't find the lens, or the lens gets scratched, and then they've discontinued that one and it's onto something new, and you're forever replacing these glasses. And I thought, okay, this is nonsense. I don't see that well. I'm frustrated. I'm going to actually try these. And what I couldn't believe was that these only weigh, because they're titanium, they only weigh 50 grams, which is nothing. Yeah. And the light only weighs equivalent to a quarter. So people think, oh, the light's going to be way too heavy, and these things are going to be way too heavy, because you might have tried on the really cheap ones that are heavy. They weigh a lot. And so I thought, well, if I can stand to have it on my face, it will work. but so if it works for me, it'll work for anyone because I don't like wearing masks.
Yeah.
I don't like wearing anything on here. So everything
Yeah.
that I wear has to be like really lightweight and easy and simple to use.
Yeah, they're definitely lighter than they look. A lot of that's one
Yeah.
of I think that we have, we have I'd say, three roadblocks when people are thinking about these, and you probably have the same. And that is one is they look heavy, and the first reaction is, they're heavy, I'm not going to wear those. And that's one. Price is another, and that makes
Yeah.
sense. And then the third is, and someone asked a question about this. The third is prescriptions. Or I wear readers, or I wear prescriptions. Does this take the place of my reader? Does this take can I just get one with clear lenses and then take my glasses off? That's where people really get tense. And so I mean, in our early days, when we would say to people, they come to our booth at a show, and we'd say, well, we grab a pair here. So, so here's the glasses, just to kind of give it. There we go. I'm sorry, I'm getting used to the camera here. These are the glasses. In the frame, we install your prescription. Okay, so there's a question: do we need any specific details on our prescription? No, we need your complete prescription. Okay, that's the simplest thing to remember is when you flip these up, you want to see as you normally see. That's the easiest thing to remember. We don't want you to have any special prescription, any different prescription from what you already wear. We're going to put your complete prescription in the frame. And then the magnifiers drop down in front of your near correction. So it's enhancing what you already have. Okay, so your near correction is going to be in a bifocal, nice and big on purpose, so that you have a big, broad view of what you're working on. And then the magnifiers will drop down in front of your near correction.
So I want to add something to what you're saying.
Sure.
So one is that I went to my optometrist and I said, I want you to make me a pair of bench glasses. So he made me measure and he set it all up. But I didn't ask for bifocals. So when I got them, I was forever taking them off and on, and I was blind walking around the studio running into stuff, because then I would have to put on my readers or whatever other glasses I had to go see, because they were so powerful that I couldn't see above them.
Sure.
What's so smart about these is that they have the prescription down here. So I just have a slight astigmatism, and I really just need readers, like 2.5s. But what they did is they took my prescription for my 2.5s with my slight astigmatism. They fixed it, but the bifocals are so large that it doesn't make me sick when I look down or look around. And I can now see the monitor when I'm teaching, or if, say, like you were watching a video and you were taking a class and you wanted to follow along and do the same thing, you'd be able to just look up and see. And I will tell you that probably, I want to say 70% of the time, I don't use the telescopes. But when I am stone setting, I'm checking my granulation, when I'm checking any of my solder seams, flipping those down is key. But I will tell you one thing you need to be careful of was when you put them down, just learning to use the glasses takes a moment. But making sure they're all the way down, because if you've ever felt like you got sick or you couldn't see, it's probably because you flipped these down and didn't flip them all the way down. They need to be all the way down.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you just need to orient yourself. And if you try to come in close like you normally would, you're not going to be able to see. It's just a really nice, relaxed, easy. It's very similar to working under a microscope. So it will actually prepare you for working under a microscope, because that's one of the harder things to do, is learn the transition from microscope to non-microscope. Well, these make it so easy for me to go from microscope to bench, because I have the same kind of magnification experience that I would have if I'm under a microscope. So not that these are not going to be as powerful as a microscope, but it's the same kind of like, okay, where are my hands and where are my eyes, getting used to this kind of magnification versus having, your optometrist make you a set of glasses and then you put a pair of magnifiers over it. That you have this illusion that you can see, but you really can't see as clearly as you can with these.
Yeah, it's an important thing you mentioned, though, is that these are not, and we have this question comes up all the time. I don't want to get a microscope. I want these. These will not replace a microscope. These are for everything else. A microscope is not the easiest thing to use for everything, whereas this you can use for everything. And one other thing that I want to point out when I put these on, so when I put them on, One of the things that is really great about these, that if anyone who's worn an optivisor or other magnifiers, what happens is I'm going to flip these up. When you flip them, when you flip them up, you have to, let's say you're working on something and you take your optivisor off, you have to sit back and you start moving back and forth all the time. When you're wearing these and you have your prescription installed in the frame or reader, whatever you normally wear, if I'm looking at, I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at this and I flip this up, it's at exactly the same distance. I'm not moving back and forth. I'm not having to readjust my eyes.
Right.
And that's really important when you're doing this stuff. If you have to keep readjusting every time you go in and out of magnification, it's going to drive you crazy. But here it's natural vision. So my corrections in these frames here. So I flip this up, comfortable. No adjustment. Back into magnified view, no adjustment.
Well, you can also get up and walk to your pickle station. You can go dig through your drawers if you need something, and you can still see. And you're not, blinded by wearing readers, which make you blind when you walk, and then wearing a magnification over it. It's just really feels good, but it also, I feel like I save time, and I also don't have the pain that I would have normally had, and the whole like taking off the things and putting the glasses on to go to this, to do my pickling and whatever. So it's saving you time, which also saves you money. And I'm always telling my students that, because it's the little things that take the longest, or that only take 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But if you're doing them repeatedly 20 times a day, that's an hour you could have back. Yeah. So, just going over some of the things about the glasses. They're titanium. They come in black or red, so you can get a choice. They look good on everybody, so you don't have to worry about what you look.
You get purple too. We have purple.
Oh, you have purple. I didn't realize that. Then you can have plain glasses put in. You can have your readers put in if you don't need a prescription. But if I'm telling you, if you have a slight astigmatism and you still are doing readers, get your prescription. Also,
here's why. Let me explain why that is. Okay, so if you have an astigmatism and it's not corrected, and what you're doing, I'm going to show you what this pair is. What you're doing is you're amplifying whatever your corrected vision is. So as long as your vision, I'm going to hold this in front. As long as your vision is correct here in the frames, this is just enhancing it. And we say this to people all the time. This is not a substitute for this. They work together.
Right.
So if you have an astigmatism and it's not corrected, and I can tell you, we see this all the time at shows where people will say, "Oh, I'm just going to take my glasses off and just give me a pair to try." And I'll say, "No, what we're gonna do is when people are wearing glasses, we do this: we flip the frame up, and then we hold them in front of their own glasses, so you get an idea of what it's going to look like through your own prescription, and then they can see. Because if you have an astigmatism and you try these on uncorrected, we can see, we watch people's eyes and their eyes start rolling." So
I can attest to that, because
you originally got just readers.
You sent me the readers with the telescopes, and then you said, "Well, just try these." And I sent you my prescription, and you sent me the second pair, and I was like, I put one on, I'm like, oh, I can't see. This is not, I can't see really that well. And then I put the other ones on, I was like, whoa. This is like clarity, and it's more clear than I could see with my readers and my magnifier. So I was like, okay, what have I been waiting for? What did I do this to myself? So really you can do the bifocal, you can do your prescription in there. So I would recommend that you, even if I know the special is going off at the end of this month. You could still purchase them and make an appointment with your eye doctor, get your prescription. So don't, because I put mine off because I kept telling Jeff, I got to go see the doctor again. I haven't been for like 2 years. I'm not going to get ones, and they're not the right ones. And he's like, don't worry about it, just get them. And I'm like, no, I got to wait. So it took me like 8 months to a year before I finally did it, because I couldn't get in to see the doctor. I just called, and he's like, we'll see you in May. That kind of thing. And also the deal goes off at the end of the year because prices have gone up with everything. You guys know that. And then also the prescription, you may not know this, but you can put in new prescriptions and just pay for the lenses to go in. So that way you're not paying for a whole new thing of glasses, and they can grow with you. Like I said, I've got this whole box that I spent way more than $1,000 on all these different glasses in here. And
that's these really could have grown. Point. Yeah.
These could have grown with me, and then they would have been clearer. They would have been less strain on me. I would have had, less. I could have worked through the bench longer, not having as much strain or pressure. And so I want to encourage people, to think about it. And even if you don't have everything prepared, take advantage of the deal before the end of the year, especially the prescription deals. So that's also, if you have them already, or you aren't sure, you could get the prescription deal, which is $99 before the end of the year instead of $125 next year, and you can then have them replaced anytime next year, during the year. So you don't have to do it like right in January, February, or whatever.
Just to clarify, just to make sure everyone understands, so when you get a set of these, it's yours forever. All you do is when Tanya is talking about changing the lenses, when your eyes change, you change the prescription in the frame. That's it. And that's currently, well, right now it's 99 until the end of the year. It goes up to 125, which is still much less than you would pay going to anywhere else. So it's 125 whenever your eyes change, but you keep the same set. You don't have to buy a whole new set of glasses, nothing like that. So, I mean, I think this pair is like 13 years old, and I've changed the prescription in here a few times. So that's all you have to do if you get a pair. So this is not something that you're going to have to buy a whole new set every time. So people think that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
And also, if for some reason you quit making jewelry, as we age, we may age out of being able to use our hands, or we have a medical issue that comes up, God forbid, you can then sell these to somebody else and they can have their prescription put in here. So it's not like you're losing money or you're losing an investment. This is an investment that can be easily invested by somebody else.
Yeah. We have people giving them to their kids, or we have people, if they stop doing jewelry, they start doing other stuff. We have people who are quilters who do cross stitch, who do other things, or we also have, sadly, we have people who get macular degeneration or other low vision issues where we can still be really helpful in earlier stages. So they can be used for so many different things. And we do have people who use them for, across the board. Well, they'll use them for electronics and miniatures and quilting and and jewelry making and everything. So it's pretty easy. And I was going to address a couple. I was just kind of looking at some of these comments here too. I want to not forget.
Yes, we'll get to those too. Yes.
Yeah. There was a question about the depth of field, the distance you choose. Okay, I want to make this real simple. I think we may be making this sound more complicated than it is. We have 3 working distances to choose from: short, regular, and long. Okay, most jewelers are going to use short or regular. And what I highly recommend is on our website, if you go to the shop menu, there's a product wizard. Click on the product wizard and it'll ask you all the questions we would ask you if we were together in person.
And it's super simple, and it's fast, really, and you're not obligated when you're done taking. No. You could just take it to see if it gives you any feedback that you need. Because I was afraid of taking it. I don't like to be committed to anything. So I was like, I'm not going to go do it. Is it going to be like 15 minutes of my life gone? So I didn't do it. And then when I went to go order them, I was like, what was I waiting for? I mean, you have all these
it's a lot simpler than people think. And because we've done this forever, we kind of know roughly where people are going to sit, and if we see something, by the way, every order is reviewed by our optician, and if we see something that doesn't make sense, or if usually when we see somebody who orders a set of glasses without any correction at all, we know we have to double check. We have to ask, because people always think, I wear a reader, but these are going to take the place of that, so I'm not going to put my reader in the frame. No, you put your reader in the frame.
Yeah.
I want to say one other thing that as you were talking, I realized that people sometimes have an issue with is that they say, I don't like bifocals. I don't like the line. I don't want a line.
You can't see them. Look at mine. You can't really see them.
Well, and that's the point, is when you're working, that's one thing. If you're walking around town, if you wear progressive lenses like I do, and I'm walking around town, I don't want to see a line. And I get that. If I'm working at a bench, though, you don't even notice the line. It's just, it's what it's allowing you to do is have a really big near correction. Whereas in my glasses, my progressive lenses, the near correction is tiny. It's really tiny. And so for doing detail work, it's kind of a hassle, but having this nice and big like this it makes it much more comfortable. So that's something to keep in mind. And I saw a question about depth of field and choosing that. When you're talking about, there are a couple things. Depth of field is the range. Let's see, again, I want to make sure you can see it. Is the range where something is clear. Okay. So depth of field is, okay, I can see clearly from 14 inches to 17 inches. It's going to be close. That's called depth of field. So that means that I can move around a little bit and not be locked into one position. So that's depth of field. Working distance is the distance from your eye to whatever you're working on. So when we talk about working distance, we're talking about that short, regular, and long distance. So you'll see that all on the website. All that stuff is really clear, and it'll recommend a working distance when you go through that product wizard. So that'll keep that real simple. The question you said, Jamie mentioned, you feel stress on your eye muscles going back and forth, and that was what I addressed earlier. No, but the only caveat to that is if you're sitting too closer than the magnifiers are designed to be,
you'll know.
Then you'll know, and you will feel
straining, yeah.
If you're at the right distance, you can flip, you go in and out of magnification, no problem, and you won't even notice it. So you don't have that funky distortion that you get with other magnifiers. And a lot of people will say, I can't wear magnification because it makes me sick, or it makes me dizzy. It doesn't. It won't.
Well, the Optivisors and the other glasses do that to me. What I will say about these is if you have that feeling happens when you first get them. So just like any new tool, like if I took away your saw frame and handed you some other saw frame, you would be upset for a while until you adapted to the new saw frame. The same thing with these glasses. When you get them on, give them a chance, and a couple of things. One, if you start feeling that way, orient yourself. Yes. And then secondly, make sure these are all the way down, especially if you're using these in that range. The light will help you see a lot. It weighs the amount of a quarter. It's really, really lightweight, and it's super easy to use. I have pockets in my aprons. My pack goes in there. I clip it onto, you can either clip it onto the restrainer or retainer thing that goes in the back.
I'm going to show you how that works, because it's important, because people almost always, whenever we hear a complaint about the light, it's because it's not connected properly. So
Jeff, I have to say that some of us with our hair don't want to wear that thing. So I resisted. I found the best way to do it is to put your hair and put it up, and then get your glasses on and tighten it in the back, and then you can put your hair down. You won't even know you have it on, and he's going to show you where that clip goes. But for me, that was why I didn't use it. So
I know,
to encourage people to use it, this is what I do.
And that's okay, and that's all right. But I'll show you how you can do that easier without messing with your hair too. So we thought of everything, Tanya. So the light here, let's see if you can see that. So sometimes people will clip this light at this top little bar here, and then it's going to move around. So I don't know if you can see that. Okay, it clips right like this. So it's nice and solid, right in position. It seems blurry to me, but.
Yeah, yours is just a little bit blurrier than mine.
Sorry about that. I don't know about that.
So I'm just showing mine at the same time.
Yeah, and then you clip it. Okay. There is a lanyard that comes with it, the stretchy lanyard here, and that can be tightened. All right, so sorry, my camera skills are not good. But I clip the wire, the light clips to the glasses here, and then you clip it to the end of the lanyard. And what that does is I'm going to slide back. It keeps it completely out of the way. So then you take the whole thing and you just flip it behind your back. So that when you're getting set up, you take it, put the whole thing behind your back and hang it around your neck. The wire is out of the way completely. You have a battery pack, so it's plugged in, and I just put this behind me. Okay? And then take off your own glasses and put these on. And that's it. And then when you're done working with them, you just drop them around your neck. You can get up and move around and put on your own glasses. But that's how that works. And you can see, you can even see it from there. You can see how bright. I almost squish around. I don't know if you can see it, but
it's so bright.
It's super bright.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful light. And also, if you have, I started noticing, I wear them all the time, and I dropped them or actually the lens fell out. Somehow the screw came loose, and the lens fell out when I was at a class in California, and then I started noticing it was scooching forward on me on my nose. So I just kind of, made the ears a little bit conformed to the back, but having that lanyard, you can bend these down. Yes, just bend them a little bit, and that solved the whole problem, because when you get a little sweaty, everything wants to go forward on your nose. And as I told you, I can't stand to have anything touching my nose. So just tightening that lanyard in the back if you feel like you need to wear it. Also, they make these silly little things that you can buy that I wanted to show at Amazon that are really cheap that you can put on. And those are like stops at the back of your ear, so you just wear them right behind your ear, and it keeps your glasses from coming down on your face like hot sweaty days in the summer. But you know, and make sure that your nose area here is clean, using just some alcohol to clean that, because we wear makeup and that makes everything slippery. But these are super easy to keep clean and to set down. When I set them down, I'm honestly not totally careful with that. I mean, I don't put it in a case.
Not alone.
I just set them down on my bench, you know, just like this, and nothing is then scratched or touched. And then I just clean them with a cloth, and there's really no maintenance to them at all. And
you know what a lot of people do is hang them up. So like when I take these off,
if I had the lanyard on there,
on a hook.
If you have the retainer on, that's a good one.
And it's just hanging on, and that's it. And by the way, so for hair, I'm just going to show you. When you put these on, hang them around your neck first. Then you pull. I know I don't have long hair,
put
but
it up.
You could pull it up then, and then slip these on.
Yep, that's what I do now.
Tighten. So so that's a common question. Oh, and I see a question on safety glasses. Yeah, so the glasses, so the lenses in the frame are polycarbonate, which is the same as safety glasses. And you can actually buy, we don't sell them, you can order any standard side shield can be added to these as well. You can order those on Amazon. It's a standard size frame, so that will work here too. So that's a good question that comes up quite a bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, I bought the glasses years ago without the. Oh, you can easily add the light. You bet. Just go right to our website and use. There's the coupon is Bright Light. BRIGHTLIGHT. Use that coupon, and that will give you $50 off the light.
Hey, that's a good deal.
So I'll type that on
in the chat.
Yeah, for 50 off the Dream Beam, and just go to it's one word, Bright Light. Let's see. I had LASIK and having trouble with eye muscles. I'll go back. Yeah, going back and forth with readers. Well, so that's when you're going back and forth with readers. If you're taking the readers up and off, you know, all the time, you're gonna that's really common, because reading glasses. Just remember that any reading glass, it's about distance. So all the reading glass is doing is shortening your focal distance. Okay, so if you had LASIK surgery and your eyes were corrected for distance, so you can see clearly off in the distance or watch TV and everything's sharp, but you need to see close, you need to put on those readers. But if you take the readers off and at that same distance, your eyes won't be able to see. You have to adjust. So that is a confusing thing for a lot of people if they've had LASIK surgery. So always remember distances. If something doesn't feel right, move a little bit, and that's how you do it. Now, one other thing I should point out is we have a 45-day money-back guarantee, and we've had that from the very beginning. And the reason we do that is, first of all, people are hesitant for the reasons we discussed. But second of all, if you get a distance, if you select a working distance, let's say you select a short working distance because you know that's where you feel that you should be. However, you decide, you know what, I'm still leaning over. I really want to sit further upright. We'll change that working distance for you at no charge during that 45 days. So you're not locked into place with that working distance. Okay. Let's see. No, the code should work.
Oh, it's cap sensitive. So make sure.
It's not capped. Actually, it should just work. If you do Tanya 125, it should work because it is active. I'll double check that just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure I checked that earlier. Make sure. I want to say that for sure before I.
One thing I will say too is the battery pack on the light really lasts a long time.
Lasts forever.
So
yeah.
I mean, I really rarely ever charge it. So I have a really bright LED light above my bench right now, and then you can see when I add this in, I'll try not to look up. You can see how much light I'm getting. So it's pretty magical, especially if you take classes. If you take a lot of classes and you go to a studio and work, they're always going to have poor lighting. And so this just makes everything work. It's just beautiful because you can control your light yourself.
Sorry, who I can't remember who asked Nadine, Tanya 125, make sure it's one word, because I just checked, it is active. It's active right now, and it should be active. It'll be active through the 31st. So you may need to just enter the code and then and click submit, and then it should update the cart.
Jeff, we found out that if you put in craftoptics.com with the link, use my link, and you don't, and you capitalize everything, it doesn't work. It's cap sensitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had to
link?
correct it. So I had all of
interesting.
that in caps when we did it, and Drew checked it, and Drew's like, this doesn't work. And then he went to all lowercase, and it all works. But you have to have that link in all lowercase for it to work. Then the code, I would use it as it's shown. But yep. So I didn't realize that either, because I have it in all caps in my student list. So I'm going to have to tell my students that it doesn't work if you have problems.
Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out, that now we know. And I saw, they may have missed it, are the lenses safety lenses? The answer is yes. They're polycarbonate, so they're shatter resistant. It's the same material, polycarbonate, that's used in safety glasses.
And I will tell you that I have a Meta glasses that I have had altered to the bench with the same kind of prescription. And these are much higher quality, higher quality lenses than the Meta glasses. And the bifocal part, I can't really see the difference when I'm wearing them, but the Meta ones I can. So these are really high quality optics.
Yeah, the lenses, lenses are really, they're interesting because there's a wide variety of manufacturers of lenses. And so when you see a reader at Costco, for example, they're okay. But what happens it's called internal reflection that happens inside the lenses. It's light bouncing around and a poor quality lens. And so we have a lot of times where people will get these and they ask us if we can do their regular glasses also, because they just see so well with them. So they really are.
They are great.
Excellent lenses. And there was a question, can you order and send in your prescription January? Yes. So you can order, I want to make that clear for anybody. You can order and get that price before the end of the year and send your prescription in anytime you want. I mean, you can send it in a year if you want, but that'd be silly. You want it sooner than later. So we have that all the time. So you don't have to have your prescription on hand to order. You can order it and send in your prescription whenever you have your eye exam or whenever you get your updated prescription. So
and the same thing with the prescription deal. So you can get the prescription deal, and then if you don't need your prescription change until next December, that you just saved yourself $26. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to prepay for my prescription now, and because I know in probably a year I'll probably have to have some adjustment to my eyes.
Yeah. And so what happens too when you send those in for an update, we make sure everything's aligned properly. We clean everything. If if a nose pad needs to be replaced, or we take care of all that stuff too. So when you get it back, it's like new.
Yeah, nice.
Debbie asked, so you talked the price. So the full set, so the retail price of everything, the glasses, your prescription, the magnifiers, and the light, and the battery pack comes in a case, like in a travel case like this. The retail price is $823 for everything. So then with the Tanya 125, you take 125 off, and what is that? Is that $698?
Something, that's good.
Yeah,
good math.
Very good. And the dollar sign, I don't know. Is there a dollar sign? No dollar sign. And you mean in the coupon, Debbie? I don't think you shouldn't have that. And and as far as working distance, everyone's different. So it really depends on how you like to work. I think, Tanya, you may have the regular working distance. I can't remember which one you have. Do you have the short or the regular?
I think it's the short. I don't think it's the regular, because I like to work pretty close, even with my soldering. So because I have a soldering bench with my slide and lock, and I have my bench pin right there. It's basically a bench pin, which is the GRS plate. It's I want to be as close. I want to be as close to the fire. I'm going to light my
Yeah.
eyelashes on fire one day. I want to be as close as possible because I want to see
Yeah.
everything. But these glasses have really helped that I don't have to get as close now.
We've
So,
heard people talk about hitting themselves in the head with a saw, wearing an optivisor. They're leaning over and they hit themselves
yeah,
in the head, or they, they light their hair on fire or things like that.
yeah,
It is as a nice, their safety lenses. That's good, but also it keeps you further away from that flame, and it keeps you further away from the saw. The I can't tell you how many people told us they would hit themselves with a saw all the time. Like that's a really common. You must run into that, so it's a
yes,
really common thing. And you also, I wanted to go back to one thing you said about dropping the magnifiers all the way down. So let me see, so a lot of people put the magnifiers like this.
yes.
And
Don't
the
do that.
people who do that are people who have used optivisors and they're used to just kind of having
Yeah,
it straight. Now, when you do that and you want to see down, you have to crank your whole head down
yeah.
in a very sharp angle to see. But if you drop them up against the glass, then your eyes will follow that angle. Okay, and you don't have to drop your head so much. So that, and also the wider, it's like looking through a keyhole. We tell people this all the time. The closer it is to your eyes, the wider the field is that you're going to see. So if you pull it away from your eyes, you get a tiny,
Gonna see it. Yeah,
tiny field.
yeah.
Prisms, absolutely. Your prisms, we do prism prescriptions all the time, Colleen. That's not a problem. And it's also it's a fixed price. So there's no additional charge for a challenging prescription. It's all the same.
So
Because
I have
yeah.
a question too. Somebody asked again, are these safety lenses?
Yeah, so I was saying there are polycarbonate lenses, same as safety lenses. So they're
You know, it's
shatterproof.
I went to a class this summer and the teacher said he said the only thing he didn't like about them is that they weren't safety lenses. So I will make sure you have his name and you can give him that information because
they need to know that.
he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
telling his students this. And so I was under the impression that they weren't. And so that's
No.
really, really good information to have.
Yeah, well, safety lenses are polycarbonate lenses. That's what they are. And so now there's an ANSI certification for safety eyewear, for safety glasses. We didn't go through the ANSI it's you drop a metal ball from a meter and it has to all hold together. There are things like that to get ANSI certified, but we haven't done that. The lenses are the same.
Okay, good information.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we talked about price, Wendy. Did you get that? Jeff, you can repeat that again if you want.
Yep. The price. I think that's.
Did we do
Yeah,
that one?
I mentioned
Okay,
that.
good.
Yeah, I
We did.
did that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then the lenses are polycarbonate, which I mentioned to Jamie, and then Colleen, UV coating or other coatings. So polycarbonate lenses are have UV protection built into them, so they block 99.8% of UV light. So it's not a coating; it's actually built into the material. So on the discount, the 125 is for the whole package. So it's called the WOW package. That's this whole thing that you see here: the glasses, the magnifiers, the light, your prescription, the whole bit.
And it's so easy to take them on and put them back on. Really, there's nothing to this at all, you guys. It's so easy, not complicated.
Yeah, and so both codes cannot be used. It's just 125 is, you'll see, that's as good as it gets for sure. That's the best price we offer anywhere ever.
Just go find out how much the dentists pay for theirs.
Several $1,000s. And
Yeah.
then when your prescription changes, you have to get, so those are those lenses are actually, a lot of them are fixed into the lens. They actually cut a hole into the glasses and plug it through. And if their working distance is wrong, they have to redo it. If their prescription changes, it's $1,500. It's a whole different world.
Yeah, if they're
Which is
very
why we
expensive.
which is why we started CraftOptics, because that kind of product was not right for artists, for sure.
Now, I think somebody did ask, is this like, can you use this on your HSA or do you know?
Yes.
Oh, you can.
Yes,
Good.
you can. Oh, yeah. So if you have a flexible spending account or health savings account, you can use that. If you have a card, like a Visa card for that, you can do that. You can also, if you just if you have a plan that requires you to get reimbursement to provide all that information, you can do that as well. We'll give you whatever information you need to get reimbursed.
Wow. That's great.
So.
And you guys are great about customer service. I just email them and I hear right back from either him or Len. And
Yeah,
It's just been great. There you don't really wait at all if you have a problem.
no,
And don't be
we're on
afraid
it.
to reach out if you get them and you're frustrated with them. Please reach out to them because they will help
Mhm.
you figure it out.
Yeah, and almost always it's something, I mean, I would say 95% of the time when someone's having trouble, it's easily fixable. It's just something they're not used to, or they're sitting too close. Almost, I'd say the number one thing is that will sit too close and they think something's wrong. And as soon as we get them on the phone or on a Zoom and we'll say, okay, now sit back just a little bit. Ah, there it is. And we may find that, okay, they picked the wrong working distance. So they may have had a regular and they want to switch to the short, and then that's what then we'll switch it for them. So
Nice.
there's always something very, generally something pretty easy to tweak. The short distance says mine are set to 12-ish, it seems, and I'm having a hard time. So the short distance is 12 to 14 inches is where that range is. So if you are having a hard time because you want to be closer than that, then we can't get you closer than 12 inches. But if you need to be sitting further back, Lisa, you can do that. We can switch that working distance for you. And the other
Yes.
question, yeah, the
The
neck
neck
cord
cord
comes
comes
along
with
with
it.
it. And then let's see, if you don't have it, what do you do if you don't have a close-up need? So Wendy, with that, if you're saying that you don't wear any readers at all, if you don't wear any glasses, if you don't wear any prescription, and you definitely don't wear any readers, or you don't need any readers, then you can get them with clear lenses. If you go through the product wizard on our site, you're going to find that it'll ask you all those questions. So the only time that you should get clear lenses, there are a couple options. One is if you don't wear any glasses at all ever, and you don't wear anything to read. Okay, then you can get clear lenses. Or if you wear multifocal contact lenses and you don't need any readers, and when you're doing your work you never put a reader on, then you can do clear lenses. And sometimes if people have had cataract surgery and they've had multifocal lens implants, same. Many people who have multifocal contact lenses or multifocal implants still wear a light reader when they're doing their jewelry work. And so you still want that reader installed in the frame. And the reason is when you're wearing them, you still want to, I remind people this over and over. When I flip these up, okay, I still want to see as I normally see. I don't want to have to then take these off and put on a different pair of readers. The whole the great thing about this is that you can do everything with one set of glasses. You don't have to switch glasses and move around. Let's see, the net cord comes along with it. What else?
So
How do you
Debbie
figure?
asked about the length. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you what I did when I talked to
Mhm.
when I talked to my optometrist. He said, put a ruler up to your temple, but Jeff actually says right in
No,
front
in
of your
front of your
eye.
eye.
Yes, in
Yeah.
front of your eye, and then you measure
Yeah.
it. So if I measure it right now to my bench pin, it's exactly 13 inches.
Yeah.
So that'll give you some idea. So if you are used to like a different kind of bench where you're working at like a table that's lower, or you want to use these for like soldering or something where you're farther away because you use a soldering station and not a soldering bench, you might want to do the 14 to 16, which is classified as the 16-inch, right?
Well,
So
we show that range, and the reason we have the range on all of them is because you have the ability to move in and out and still see clear, still see sharp. That's that depth of field I was talking about earlier. So you can still move around. Jamie asked, how do you measure for the reader? Well, that would be something you would do. If you wear readers, you look on the side of on the temple of your reader, and you should have a number that says what your reader is, if that's all you use. So that's the same reader that you would have installed in the frames.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. So, again, so how do you measure for the reader or the progressive? Well, again, we don't put your progressive lens in these frames. We put that same prescription in the frame, but as a bifocal and distance. So again, if you use the product wizard, you'll get it right away because it's illustrated on the website. But here's why. So I have my distance correction up here. Okay, so I can see off in the distance. I flip this up and I can see near here. Okay, so that's through this bottom part. But it's the prescription's the same. It's just configured as a bifocal, not as a progressive lens. We don't do progressive lenses because that near correction is too small in a progressive lens.
It's funny because you guys figure it out for us. So I didn't really want to know about all this stuff. I didn't want
Right.
to like understand the difference. I said, I usually wear my readers and I wear a 2.5, but I have this prescription for astigmatism. You just, you tell me what I should do. And that's when you guys said, do the bifocal. And I'm like, I'm not going to like those. So you sent me the reader ones because you wanted me to try both. And normally, guys, they don't do that for everybody. But, because I'm a teacher and I'm helping other people find the right glasses, they wanted me to experience both. So when I got the readers on, I was like, hell no, this is not going to work for me. When I put the other ones on, I was like, wow. And they work. So, McCall, you had a question. They work at different lengths. So I can use it for soldering. I can use it for close-up bench work. But when I want to see super magnified, then I put my telescopes down. So it's unlike readers where we're trying to get by with readers where they are made for just close-up work. They're not made for far away. So everything's blurry the farther you get things away from you because they're not made for being anything up, but where you would read closely. So you don't have to worry so much about like that part of it. What you just need to think about is, do I work really far away, or am I a needle pointer and crochet, and do I want that kind of close-up vision down here where my hands are farther away from me? But for most all of us jewelers, we're working at that 13, 14-inch range. So we need those closer ones. And that's just
Almost
a simple,
all. Yeah, almost all.
I don't think there's probably any exception to that unless you're like really used to working at the tips of your fingers, far away.
Yeah, I mean, or if you're tall. So we have tall people who just don't, they want to be a little further away. And by all this discussion, we may be sounding like we're overcomplicating. It's pretty simple.
It's
Three
easy.
working distances, of which two are probably most likely, and one is probably the likely one that you're going to pick. But it's all based on your prescription. So if your prescription is in here, and if you don't put your prescription in here, then all bets are off on what your working distance is, because your prescription affects your working distance. Okay, so as long as this is correct, as long as this is correct, then everything's going to fall into place.
Yeah.
So they work together. That's the biggest thing to remember. We don't need anything special for your prescription. You don't want to tell your optometrist, hey, I'm getting these, and then have your optometrist. This happened in the early days. It doesn't happen much anymore. And then the optometrist would say, oh, great, I'm going to adjust your prescription to do all this stuff. No, whatever you're used to wearing, whatever prescription you're wearing right now to work, that's what we put in the glasses, because that's what you're used to. And then the magnifiers are just going to make it bigger. That's
now,
it.
Nancy's question goes along with this, though, which is a really good question. Is it the prescription that the optometrist gives you for what you would normally have while you work at the bench, or is this like a walking around your house kind of prescription? Because I think I did tell my optometrist I wanted a prescription for working at the bench.
So that's a good question. It is a good question, and so let's see. You have a prescription for normal wear,
like walking around your house and doing stuff, laundry, whatever.
So if I'm understanding this right, Nancy, you get a prescription.
You can unmute yourself if you want.
Yeah,
Nancy?
whatever you wear for your work. If you're wearing a different set of, if I'm understanding this right, you're wearing a different set of glasses for your work. Is that right? If that's correct, then whatever you wear for your work, that's what we put in the glasses. The simplest way to think about it is I'm gonna put these things on, but when I flip these up, I want to see as I'm normally used to seeing. That's the simplest way to think about it. Okay.
Okay, so if I go to the optometrist and he does my prescription, he's going to do that for just regular wear. But if I'm sitting at my bench, I might want to add 2.0 readers on top of that to give myself some magnification. So what you want to know is, here's the prescription, plus you're wearing 2.0 readers and you're working at a distance of 15 inches. Those are the three things you need, right?
Well, wait, so you're wearing readers over your readers. So basically you have a set of glasses that are progressive lenses. You have a near correction in those glasses, and then you're putting a +2 reader over the top of those.
Exactly.
Okay. I think you don't need to do, because remember, this will take the place of that +2 extra reader that this will
That's your
be
magnifier. Yep.
this is what's going to take place of that extra +2 reader that you're putting on. So if you have your normal correction in here, and unless your doctor has given you a set of glasses with a stronger reader in the bottom, you just don't want to make that too strong. And a lot of people do that, and you get eye strain if this is too strong.
Okay.
So your normal prescription would go in here. These would go on top. This is going to take the place. This is much better than that +2 reader. So this is 2x, which equates to about +8, a +8 reader, which they don't make, because a +8 reader you'd have to be this close to see. So people, when they hear 2x, they think, oh, that doesn't sound like very much. But when they put them on, they're really surprised, because it doubles this image size, doubles the size of what you're looking at, but from a nice, comfortable posture, so you don't have to sit like this.
Yeah. Because I used to wear my readers and my 2.5s, and then I would get a 3.0 reader, and then I put the 1.6 magnifier over it.
Yeah, and you have to sit like this close.
You have to sit like this to work, and it's not really, you're thinking, oh, it's magnifying it like 1.6 plus 3. Okay, I'm getting almost 5. It doesn't work that way. So I didn't realize that either. So I was trying to cobble together all of the stuff to give me. And what I was really doing was hurting my neck, my head, and really not seeing what I was doing properly. So I don't think most people realize they're not seeing well.
That's cutting light. So every lens that you put in front is cut light. When light's coming, through to you, it's being stopped every step of the way. Every lens is cutting some light that gets to your eye. So you may think it's getting bigger, but then you need more and more light, because all that's being taken away from you. So when you have super anti-reflective type lenses like this is, and these are super clear optics, that more light is getting to your eyes. That's what helps you see. So that's,
I didn't realize, I didn't think about that. That's
a
a really good point.
It's a real common thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Are there any other questions people have? Yeah, sure.
This is related to the same kind of thing. I had LASIK, when I was 40 or something, and now I'm 66. So obviously, since then, I've needed readers. And when I used to wear glasses, I'm pretty sure I had some astigmatism. I had like a -4.5, probably with some, astigmatism. Now, for years, I didn't wear any corrective lenses. And now I wear all the different readers. Like whatever task I'm doing, like a 3 or a 3 or a 2.5 or a 2.0. But the thing that I wear generally when I'm reading or looking at the computer is a 1.75. It's more comfortable than a 2. I need to get too close.
Yeah.
So do I stick with a 1.75 for these? That's not exactly close enough for bench work. But it's a comfortable distance from. I'm sitting maybe 12 inches from my computer right now, or
those
when
are
I'm reading
single vision readers that you're wearing, just readers that you're wearing right now?
Just, all one thing. Okay. But I would obviously, because I have fully, perfect far vision, I could get just the bottom part.
That's what you would do, with these probably.
Yeah,
you can get single vision. So I'll tell you, I'll kind of explain, and you'll see this kind of doing the product wizard, but if there's a bench, like a bench production jeweler who's sitting at that bench, and their tools are all, within a foot, and all they're doing all day long is that, then what? I'm gonna put these on, show you. Then all they need to see is near. So they're looking above to see just near. This is all they need to see, and so they will get a single vision. So that's pretty common, but most people want to see off in the distance. Okay.
I can tell you, when I'm teaching and I would wear my readers with the magnifiers, I couldn't I couldn't read the monitor back there. So if my students were making faces at me, I would never know, because I couldn't see their faces.
Maybe that's better.
It was blurry and the words were all blurry. But now I can see so very clearly. I don't know how they work their magic, but I sent them my prescription, which is I have really pretty good eyesight. I can see perfectly far away.
Yeah.
I just need readers. And I probably am wearing readers heavier than I needed, because I've been at the bench wearing them for so many years, so that I now just wear them when I go out in the living room. But I can see the words perfectly back there and read everything. But I look down, I can see everything perfectly here, and I'm not having to get close. and I'm not putting the strain on. It's just everything works. And then when I'm doing the stone setting, I just pop these down, and boy, it's like zoomed in, and I can see everything.
Tanya, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when we first went to lunch and I asked you about your glasses, you were wearing glasses and they were full readers, and you were walking around with them, and I said, well, how do you see?
I said everything's blurry.
I know, it's blurry. Everything's blurry.
Because I'm too lazy to take them off. I mean, my students know that I'm really super lazy, so I just wear them everywhere. I've learned to go down the stairs in my house without killing myself, and everything's blurry because I don't want to take them off. So having these is like magic, and I almost, you know, when you said somebody asked you if you could make regular glasses for them at home, I'm like, I should probably do that.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot. Yeah, that's funny.
I have another question.
But
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. If you want to go, Michael, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that I still get confused about which ones I should have because, you know, like I have this big table as well as my bench, and the table is more where I design, and I have like all kinds of things there. And now with a 1.75, it's only slightly blurry looking all the way across my bench, but I can see everything. So I'm just wondering, like, I guess maybe I need to call you guys.
No, I can tell. I'll tell you. So let's. What are you wearing when you're at the bench and you're doing your work? What reader do you put on? You put on the 2?
Oh, when I'm sawing or something really close, I put on a 3, but that's way too short.
Probably
and
too
I'm
much.
hitting myself in the face.
Right.
With a saw.
Right.
You know,
But the 2,
having that problem.
But a 2, and you wouldn't wear the glasses you're wearing now, right? You probably wear a 2 or okay. That 2 probably sounds about right, because then you're still able to see, and you could do the bifocals. You just have it clear.
Do
in
the
bifocals.
bifocals.
See around. Yeah.
Do the bifocals. This will solve all of your problems.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like your eyes are just almost like mine.
Yeah. I don't want to complicate that. I'm not going to complicate this, but I'm going to explain one of the things that you can do. And you'll see in the product wizard, one of the questions is, are you looking at a monitor? So during COVID, this is where this came up much more. People were taking classes online. They were at their bench. They had a monitor or an iPad or something that was about arm's length away. So they needed to see arm's length. They didn't need to see the TV. They just wanted to see arm's length. And in that case, what we did was we put their near correction in the bottom and their intermediate in the upper part. So they could only see, they could see when they glanced above the magnifiers like I'm doing now, they could see, like I could see, the camera. But I wouldn't be able to see across.
So you can do that too. So I can have 1.75 and maybe.
Yes.
So how far up could I go on the bottom, or should I go? Because the thing I'm worried about is that it's not going to be enough.
No, we do that for you.
Two.
There's no choice. We do it for you. So I'm going to show you real quick. Let's see if you can see this here. Let's see. So do you see where that line is of the bifocal?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
It has to be there because this drops down in front of it. So when you flip this up, that area is big. So you're not going to have any problem seeing your work.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, so then when you maybe go to your other table, you flip this up and you'll still have that +2 in there. You'll be able to see as you would with the +2. So that's probably the simplest way to do it.
Jeff, are you okay on time? Because we've gone really far.
Yeah,
over.
fine.
Okay,
Fine. Sure, yeah.
Let other people.
Let's see.
Are you going to be is there somebody in the office the next 2 days before the sale runs out in case anyone has a question?
Yep.
Okay.
Lynn is in for sure.
Okay.
And I definitely recommend that product wizard. It's really, really helpful. It simplifies things. Sometimes we're talking about all these, kind of off types of situations, but 90% of people fall into kind of the same range. And the biggest thing to remember is whatever you're wearing while you're working, that's what we want to put in the frame.
Yeah.
That's the easiest.
But some of us are very complicated beings and we like to work at different places. So her question was really good because I think that was part of my hesitation on buying them was I had the same kind of but I have all these needs and I don't know if you can meet my needs. And they're just really great glasses.
Well, but what's interesting too is that people find you wind up, because of the way your eyes are and how you see, in most cases, people sit about the same distance for whatever task they're working on. They tend to sit in similar distances. So it doesn't vary as much as you think it does. We've done studies, for years watching people work, and they'll say, "Well, I'm sawing at the bench here, and then I go over here to the roller, and I'm doing this," and their
The
their
same
eye
distance.
is about the same distance. They just, but it feels like, well, I'm standing, so I must be further away, but you're not necessarily. So
Right.
you can really cover a lot with one of these, and again, you're not stuck if you have. If you have a distance that you just decide I'm too far away or I'm too close, I want to, change that. We take care of that for you. I see Nancy had a question. Love the CraftOptics. Thank you, Nancy. New lenses in, you dropped them. Now the top has been knocked out of alignment. I can't get back. Oh yeah. So Nancy, why don't you give us a call tomorrow, and Lynn can probably even do a Zoom and show you how to get that back together.
Nice.
It's real simple, and you just basically, and we have a photo too, and you can see. But basically, they both have a slight inward angle, and then you just tighten them at the top here with that button.
Isn't Zoom
Okay.
great?
Different question.
And the cost for replacement. So when you say replacement lenses, do you mean the replacement prescription? I'm assuming the prescription. So right now, until the end of the month, it's $99. But it's starting January 1st, it's $125.
Yep.
So next time your eyes change, it's $125. And I don't know if you came in later, but once you get a set of these, you have them forever. Mine, I think these are 13 or 14 years old, something like that. And they're still, I've changed the lenses in them a few times. But they're pretty tough too. You're kind of surprising. There's a 3-year warranty. There's a titanium frame, 3-year warranty on the frame, lifetime on the optics. So there's a 3 years on the light. So we if there's a problem, we just fix it, take care of it.
And if you came in late and you didn't hear, you can pay the $99 in the next 2 or 3 days. And then if you don't use it till next December to get a new prescription, it's fine. It's still good, but it'll save you $26.
Yeah. So if you already have the glasses and you think you might be changing your lenses next year, you can order that. You can just go in the shop menu. There's a prescription update section. You can order that then, and we just hang on to it, and then you just call whenever the time is to change the prescription. So that's how that works.
I have a slightly different question.
Sure.
So I usually wear my reader glasses that are fine for my working, and then I put on an optivisor over. That's the number 5 plate, and then I also have the little loop that I flip up and down depending on what I need for.
Sure.
So how do I understand what the magnification is on the telescope? Because I guess I have 3 different options when I have my regular glasses on with the optivisor plate and then with the loop for up close. So how do I relate to what's what with the craft?
Yeah, there's not a direct, it is, I would say it's similar in magnification to about a 5 plate on a, so 5 plate on an optivisor is not 5x, which people get confused about that a lot. Those are diopters. It's like a +5 reader is basically what that is. So 2x is, it's not far off from that. It's kind of similar, but the difference being you can sit at a more comfortable distance. What we don't have is that loop. You would need that. You'd still have to use some kind of loop, if you're using that a lot. I have had people, it's a little weird, but I have had that people, have the kind that attach to the frame, that attach like here, and they flip it down, it attaches to the temple. I've seen that before, and you can do that, if you want to do that. We don't offer that, but that's something you could do if you needed it.
Okay, so the magnification with the telescopes is
2x. So
okay, so that's not as strong as with the 5 plate and the little loop, because I don't have a microscope, so I use that for up close.
Gotcha.
And once in a while I do grab a 10 power loop on top of that when I need to see something really super tiny.
Yeah, and you can, so as I was saying earlier, I don't know if you heard me, but this is not a substitute for a microscope by any means, but it's for everything else. And you can still look, you can flip these up and look through a loop if you want, and people do that too from time to time. You obviously can't work like that too long, but you can check things.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would just need to probably try it and see if it's working for me, if I can make something work, if that's not quite close enough. And then if I can't, there's a money back guarantee for a
Full,
period of time.
full refund, even if we put your prescription in.
In 45 days.
Yep. Yeah,
Hey,
45 days.
this is an option for you too. So I have these down, and this is it's a Japanese lens that I got at Auto Fry. I take it to, it's made in Japan. It's 7 times. It's a loop. It's a really good quality one. I take it to Tucson because I want to be able to see stones up close and not have to put these on and people look at you. So this, using this with the telescopes, it does illuminate it even more.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's neat.
So
that's
it's a nice way to, be able to come in and look at it even closer. So it might be an option for you, and it's big. So it's nice to hold on to and be able to get that light in. And then if I had my dream light on, it would just zoom in that really boldly, and I would be able to see that. So another option for you, just wanted to let you know about that is available. I did a podcast once with it right before the gym show, and they sold out that night. So that's
a great thought. And then, so are both the CraftOptic telescopes and the lens that you showed, Tanya, are they corrected like a loop is? So for spherical correction?
Yeah, so
spherical distortion.
There is always going to be some distortion when you're looking through. But yes, so like a loop, it's the same kind of because this is a loop, so it's the same kind of distortion that a basic loop would have. So it does take a second for you to get it, just right with especially the light.
Right.
But then,
okay.
But now I've got this and I've got that. So if I really need to look and I don't have a microscope and I'm just not sure, this is a really good option because I think it'd be hard to put a small loop.
I like that. Yeah, that's a nice one because normally you don't see them that big. The only challenge there is because it's a convex lens, you get that, you get all those loops like that. They're little fisheye, but that's a nice. I like that size.
I'll show you a little $5 do jobby. Now this comes from the Science Supply, and this works very nicely. I just have to make sure I carry it around in my plastic baggie. But if I were to put these down and look at it, yeah, it's giving me the same. Oh, it's actually giving me a really nice image because it lets so much light in. It doesn't have that framing. And these were like $5 because my son had to during COVID, they shut down the lab at U of A and they made him go buy stuff. And this is what he bought. And I took it. So it works great. And it's a lot cheaper.
The telescopes on the CraftOptics are also they're adjusted for spherical distortion. They have a
the patent we have is it's sharp edge to edge, so you don't have any kind of distortion, no color aberration, nothing like that.
That's
so so optically they're very similar to our background is dentistry and surgery, so optically they're very similar to that.
So they could be used for grading too, like
probably, yeah. I mean, it just depends on on what you're working on, but
sure. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else that let's see. Oh, is there a different discount code? No. So the change in prescription right now, there's no code for that. Right now, the price is on the website at $99. It changes on January 1st to $125. So if you just order it ahead of before the end of the year, you got it.
Great. Is that like midnight Arizona time?
It's midnight Pacific time. Yeah. Depends how late we want to stay up.
All right. Is there any other burning questions before we let this gentleman go who stayed way over? And I'm so appreciative because
no, this is great.
There's so many questions that you have, like you just think it's way more complicated than it is. You think you're going to get the wrong thing. What if you spend all this money and it doesn't work out? So a lot of those things I think have been alleviated. And yes, this is taped. The recording will go up for my students on Forge Circle, and then we'll probably put it up on YouTube as well, so you'll be able to watch it later. And Jeff, you can send your students there because I think I watched all your videos, and there were so many questions. I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? So we've been, I think, very thorough tonight and given kind of went about it in a better way that we answered all of those questions.
Yeah. So. And then I think that also if you go to our website, and our YouTube page, there are videos, FAQs, and it's a lot of the same stuff we just talked about, and it's me telling you the same thing, but in little smaller chunks. So if you don't remember, by all means check those out. And every time we come up with a new question, we make a new video for it. So
Awesome.
There's a whole collection there.
Well, thank you for your time, and thanks everybody for coming. I really appreciate you guys showing up, and
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
And we'll be doing more of these, so it'll be fun. Any tool you want to know more about, let me know, and I will contact them and see. I'm going to do some stone ones before the Tucson Gym Show, so maybe we'll help you shop for stones. So that's it. So you guys have a great evening. Thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you, guys.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And you guys can email us if you have questions too, or give us a call, okay?
Thanks.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.